Hello aviators, and welcome to another episode of 5x5 from Bose Aviation. My name is Chris Palmer from angleofattack.com, and I'm a master CFI and educator based in Homer, Alaska. In this 5x5 series, we're bringing you tips, tricks, and techniques for effective and safe radio communications. In this episode, we're going to discuss mic fright. As a seasoned flight instructor, I've spent a lot of time in the right seat just getting to watch the wheels turn in a student's mind while they learn things for the first time. Often I'll demonstrate something and the student will pick it up and do a pretty good job right away. For most, flying comes fairly naturally. Radio calls, however, are a whole different animal. Mic fright, as it's commonly known, is real. I can best describe it as a clamming up or an apprehension to key the mic and say the radio call, even in spite of knowing what to say or having just been told by your instructor what to say. It basically boils down to a few things. Either someone is afraid of sounding foolish on the radio, or they're afraid of getting in trouble. So I want to address each one of those separately and tell you why you don't need to worry about either one. Keying the mic does mean that everyone on the frequency nearby will hear what you say, and it does mean that any mistake you make, a stumble, a slur, a stutter, will be heard by all. But guess what? Nobody cares. As an experienced professional commercial pilot and instructor, I still make mistakes. Something strange will come out of my mouth and I'll wonder immediately what it was I was trying to say and how in the world it got so jumbled on the trip from my brain down to my tongue. Most pilots will admit the same. We're all fallible. Next, the idea of making mistakes. Again, you absolutely will make mistakes. That's part of learning. You'll omit a key item, say the runway number or something else. As long as it's corrected, you'll be just fine. And even at the busiest airspaces, people make mistakes. So learn from your mistakes and keep learning. Soon those radio calls will be really sharp. Being that there's no reason to be afraid of sounding foolish or making a mistake, how can you sharpen up on those radio calls in the meantime? Here are a few tips. Say your radio calls while you're out driving. Try not to think about them so much. Just think it and say it, and don't let your emotions get in the way. Draw a fake runway with chalk and do the pattern work, just walking the runway and making the radio calls. Make them at every turn, and then switch it around. Switch to the other runway. Practice with willing family or friends present. This adds an additional pressure to perform. If you're lucky enough to have a simulator, that's also a great place to practice, especially with online tools like Pilot Edge. Lastly, I want to mention that this isn't just a thing for new pilots. When you add an instrument rating, mic fright comes back in full force and starts all over again. Eventually, you've just got to get over the mic fright with practice and persistence. Believe me, I've seen it. It's scary for people, like really scary for some people, but we're all just pilots trying to be safe, and many of us pilots are just like you, still learning to fly and adding new ratings. Do your best, relax a little bit, let those radio calls flow, flawed or otherwise. Soon, you'll sound like a pro. Thanks for joining in on another episode of 5x5. If you enjoyed this, consider sharing with a pilot friend. Also, don't miss the next episode by following and subscribing to both Bose Aviation and Angle of Attack. Once again, my name is Chris Palmer from angleofattack.com, and it's been a pleasure to teach you today. Make sure to fly safe, and until next time, throttle on.